Actually, orchestras are doing a pretty good job of bringing in new audiences, but they don't retain them. So that's what the 9 out of 10 number is. The numbers they had were 50% of the people buying tickets for orchestras in the United States, or within those 10 orchestras, 50% of them bought one ticket during that season. Now, 9 out of 10 of those 50% didn't return. Also, 50% of the people attended for the first time. Now, there's some overlap, of course. But in that case as well, 9 out of 10 didn't return the next season. The revenue difference between unconverted trialists and the core audience of orchestras was, and revenue meaning ticket buying and donations. Over 5 years, the revenue difference was basically $200 versus almost $5,000. So a big difference in revenue if you can convert those unconverted trialists to core audience. The Wyman study explained that these unconverted trialists really take into account everything as the experience. The core audience, they go to orchestra concerts for the music. You know, music is their experience. But these unconverted trialists, they take everything into account, from how easy is it to find parking, how do the program notes look, what is my experience with fellow patrons at the concert, how expensive are the drinks, but also how am I marketed to, and maybe more importantly, how do orchestras follow up with me? Traditionally, of course, you know, I've experienced this. I go to one theater performance or one orchestra performance. They have my email address. All of a sudden, I'm receiving every single offer, every single concert that they have on offer in my email box or in my mailbox. And, you know, I might have gone to a Shostakovich concert, and I know this is blasphemous, but I'm not a big Mozart fan. So why would I be getting Mozart concerts in my mailbox? I'm not interested in this. I think one great example of this free agent is Marcia Adair, and she created a thing called Opera Plot, which is a thing on Twitter where people would summarize an opera, an obscure opera or a famous opera, in 140 characters. Now, we saw some hilarious results from that, but the thing is, she engaged with other opera companies to get them to donate prizes. And some of them donated some wonderful gala packages, or even a flight to Wales, I think, was in there, to attend an opera. And Marcia said, you know, I interviewed her, and she said, I didn't really think I had the influence to organize all of this. But it just grew out of this enthusiasm for this idea. And it was really easy for these opera companies to engage, because it was an easy way, a no-risk way for them to engage with it. You know, what's their loss to give away a ticket for this competition? Nothing. So what it was about is it's really this new kind of relationship with your patrons. So it was really not about, you know, the typical orchestra or the typical classical music billings where, you know, we are the best orchestra, we are awesome. It was about a real connection with the audience. For most organizations, the first step in integrated marketing communications is tactical coordination. So all your functional efforts you coordinate your policies and practices, you communicate across departments, and you really try to create this one sight, one sound feel. And I think the St. Louis Orchestra does that pretty well with their social media efforts, where they integrate it on their front page. You know, find us on Facebook. They have their blog on the front page. And they have a dedicated section where you can find all their social media efforts. I even seen, like the San Francisco Orchestra has in their program book, you know, follow us on Twitter, or which is a hard copy that people at the concerts get. So they can see it there. It doesn't stop with just your website. The St. Louis Symphony Orchestra has integration with Foursquare, Twitter, and on their Facebook page. So it's not just the website, it's also integrating your tools within your other networks. Make the case for your social media strategy internally. And then gather patron behavioral data is one of the next steps too. I think a lot of orchestras look at demographics and say, okay, this zip code has 80% of 55-year and older people. So that's a great zip code to market to, because only old people go to classical music. But it's really all about behavioral data. Because if you think about it, would you rather have a 23-year-old who spends his time online downloading music, paying for music, downloading music, and which includes some classical music. He might download a lot of jazz and rock, but also some classical music. And the guy is 23-year-old. Or would you rather market to this 55-year-old that you think is your target market, but that guy only spends his time playing Mafia Wars and online poker? It's really about behaviors. It's not necessarily about, I want to increase my revenue by 500,000. It's a mission statement inspired goal. Arts organizations are nonprofits. You don't want to satisfy shareholders. You want to bring art to the community. So if we look at the New York Philharmonic, for example, this mission statement is probably about 150 years old. And it still applies today, particularly because of this line. So in short, it's basically, we want to provide art to the community. And they list a whole bunch of things, phonographic recordings. I have no idea even what those are anymore. It's really interesting that they say, and in any other manner, known now or hereafter to be. So it's as if they knew about the invention of the internet 150 years ago.